Hi everybody, I'm Lori.
I'm Andrew.
And we're here to present to you every prepper's important medicine cabinet. You need to have over-the-counter medicines for not only emergencies, but everyday life. And,
Yes.
And you were talking about don't buy 30 of them.
Right.
Peaches, we need 30 cans of peaches, but...
Right, so one of the things we've talked about in our past videos is prepping and what you can stockpile on, how long it's going to last, and that type of thing. Keep in mind with your medicines, these are all over-the-counter medicines that you can purchase. But what we're talking about is if there was a disruption in the supply chain, or if there's a disruption in you being able to get to the store. Things you really must have on hand, not things that you want to stockpile, but things you want to have on hand. Very important to be watching the expiration dates on these and rotating them out, because again, this isn't stockpiling items, this is items that you should have on hand, and a lot of people don't think about that, what could happen. You know my phrase, better to be prepared and not need it
than to need it and not be prepared.
Perfect. Lori, I'll let you start.
Okay, I guess our number one is, what medicines do you take every day? And what I mean by that is, we're not going to go in great detail about that, but everybody I know takes at least one prescribed medicine from the doctor.
Right.
You know, so, and they're very hesitant to give you, you know, several months worth of meds,
right.
But try whatever you can. Days you don't need to take, you know, 3 or 4 pills, maybe you only need to take 2 that day. Try to save a little extra for an emergency. That's all I'll say on that.
Right, if you can. Because doctors are reluctant to prescribe any more than what is needed right now. So you want to be careful, because if something did happen, you might not be able to get to your doctor, or you might not be able to get to the pharmacy. So keep those in mind. What we're really talking about here is over-the-counter things that you can buy right now to have in your prepper area.
Oh yeah, and as preppers, we should always be prepared for weather-related stuff,
right.
or
worst case scenario,
or remember what happened in 2020. Let's just say that you never know when something like that can happen again, so you want to be prepared.
Right.
With these medicines. Everybody catches colds, so I guess we'll start with there. And these aren't in any particular order. The importance, I think, are all of them. So number one would be cold, so like allergy relief. I take Zyrtec D, but that's over the counter. I only can get 1 at a time. That lasts like 24 days. Let's see here, what do we have? And this is like Sudafed, right?
Another allergy medicine.
Allergy meds.
Medicine, right. You want to make sure you have those allergy medicines, very important. And like Lori said, this isn't a number 1 is this, number 10 is this. This is things you need to have, because I think they're all equal importance, because you don't know what you're going to need. You don't know if you're going to get a cold, and are you going to need some cold medicine. You know, normally we get a cold and we run out and get cold medicine for it. Well, what if we can't run out and get that cold medicine? You want to make sure that you have that on hand, and you want to make sure you're watching the expiration dates on those. So start with, you know, again, allergies, followed by make sure you have cold medicine, that you have current cold medicine.
Yeah.
I like to have a nighttime and a daytime, because they're 2 different things, and I want to make sure I have both. That's something
and we're
you
talking
have on hand.
Something like a cough suppressant or cough syrup. We simply call it cough syrup.
Right.
Make sure you have something for the daytime and nighttime, because everybody catches colds, regardless of how, you know, how many vitamins we take, how much we work out. It's just human nature.
It's going to happen.
It's going to happen. You can't avoid it.
And in times of stress, your immune system is also worn down. So when there's a stressful period happen, you're more likely to catch something, unfortunately.
And under stress,
right.
that kind of helps with that.
Right.
One.
This is an immune strength support system that helps. We take it in a couple of different forms. We take it in the airborne. We also take it in the NRC, and then we also have gummies that do the same thing. Because your immune system in times of stress can really get worn down. So you have to be prepared for that. That's something you want to make sure you're keeping your immune system strong, so you don't get anything in the first place.
Right, and this is, what are you doing, Aries?
Sure.
Aries is always causing trouble. Okay, airborne, kind of like vitamin C, kind of help with our immune health. That kind of goes with like, my old man here likes the vitamin C
gummy.
Yep, and I like the immune health, airborne. Tastes a little better. Me being picky again.
Wow.
Hard to believe,
That's
huh?
hard to believe.
So yeah, this is kind of like our number 3 area, is your vitamins. Your vitamins and your immune health together. That's really important. So
now,
moving on to like a number 4.
One thing is very important to me, because I take very, very few medicines. I'm not in any prescription medicines. I take very few. But the one thing that I do have to take is for acid reflux. So I take Nexium. So I make sure I always have a 6-week supply of Nexium on hand, and I always have a backup so that I always have it, because that's the only medicine that I take every single day. So it's very important. Lori likes the Prilosec, and then we have the Tums there as well, because sometimes those don't always work immediately for you, so you have those. Very important, again, because when you're under stress, you're going to have more of that acid reflux and stuff. So you want to make sure that not only you have what you're going to need for as long as possible that you're going to have it, because you don't know when you're going to be able to get to the store again, but also that, again, it hasn't expired. That's a big thing.
And I think that's what, number 4, roughly,
yep.
something like that. And we'll just stick with the theme of trying to avoid stuff. Number 5, you got to have hand soap. And I know this is in every video, every prepper's video. We got to keep our hands clean. We got to wash them when we're out in public. You know, I may be coughing and sneezing and I touch stuff, and then somebody comes behind me. Hopefully they wash their hands, you know, afterwards, so they don't get sick, but, you know, it happens.
And in a situation where the electricity may be out and you may not have your water pump, like we have a well, we may not have water coming, we may have limited resources as far as water. So by being able to use an antibiotic hand sanitizer, we can save on some of that water where we're normally washing our hands with an antibacterial soap. We can use this instead of that in case of an emergency.
Right. So I guess next one would be a probiotic. And why this is important that you need to have in your prepper pantry or just your stockpile, whatever you want to call it, for medicines is we all have bad tummies, and there's times where no matter what you do, your tummy is not right. Usually you need this for about a week, often twice a day, once a day, whatever the case may be. Just kind of help things get back to normal, regulate, and, you know.
Right. And if you look at what you're going to be eating during a time of emergency, a lot of it's going to be the canned goods that you've saved or frozen goods that you've saved. You might not have access to a lot of proteins like your chicken and beef, fish, that type of thing, because they're going to be perishable. So a probiotic's going to help because your system's going to be messed up. So very important to have that, which would lead to the next thing.
Well, yeah, this does
go hand in hand.
Yeah, I kind of have a sibling that tends to need this type of stuff quite often. Stressful being a trauma nurse, so Pepto-Bismol, an antacid. You can get name brand, you can get an off brand, pretty much the same thing.
Right. And the big thing is consider your own needs, what you're going to need. And like I talked about, stocking up. So if you get a 2-pack of this, you're probably going to be fine. This isn't something that you need to have 30 of these on hand, because you're probably not going to need this very often, but you want to have it when you do need it. This is not something you're going to take every day, hopefully, but you want to have it if you need it.
Remember the story of we were driving and somebody was having tummy issues? You could tell, and they were trying to get to Walgreens to buy this type of stuff.
Well,
and couldn't finish.
We had just seen them in the store buying this. We had just seen them. We saw them in the store and they were acting kind of weird. And they had just bought this. And when we came out, they were at a stoplight. And you could tell they were about to have an emergency and they couldn't decide which way to go, like which would be the fastest way to get to a restroom. So you want to have stuff like this. They couldn't decide to go back in Walgreens or to walk home, which was probably, you know, just down the road. Who knows, but it was hilarious. You can just tell
pretty funny.
Look of panic on their face, unfortunately. Bad for them, but we gotta laugh.
So, yeah, I think we're around 8 or 9. Yeah. I'll say 9. So let's think of pain. Let's say you have, headaches. Maybe you have an injury and that's just aching and hurting. So here we have a Walgreens pain reliever. Pain relievers, yes. Liver? What am I thinking about? I hate liver. Ick. And ibuprofen. I like Advil, but this is the same thing. Costco, Sam's Club, those places, you can stock up on a lot of this stuff in bulk and save a lot of money and have plenty on hand if you do that.
And again, check the expiration dates on those. Very important with all of your prepping supplies that you're rotating, but even more so with your medicines. You want to make sure that you're rotating those. These are not something that you put in a prepper's closet or pantry and just leave them there. You want to make sure that you're rotating these out.
Okay, why don't you talk about this? Because I have to get Aries. She's getting in trouble.
Aries. So again, this is just another medicine that you might need. Anti-diarrhea, anti-gas in a pill form. We have that. Also, along with having the colds, very good idea to have some type of chest rub, because you might get a cold that's really down into your lungs, and this is going to help bring that out. And again, these are things that you normally don't buy until you need them. And then, you know, you can always run out, like say there's a Walgreens on every corner, so you can run out and get it. But what if something happened that it wasn't there? Again, either you couldn't get there, or they couldn't open, or they couldn't get their supplies. So these are things you want to have on hand. Everyday things that you just might not think you need, but you want to have these on hand. That's kind of the purpose of all of our videos, is telling you, be prepared. Let's hope we don't need it, but be prepared in case we did. We, unfortunately, I think as a society have become way too spoiled on just being able to run out and get whatever we need. There might come a time when we're not able to do that.
So it just makes sense to have these things on hand. And like mucus relief.
Yep.
A lot of us, maybe we had a cold. Now the cold is lingering because maybe the sinuses or the cold in your nose is draining and you got that mucus. Or maybe your chest cold and now it's coming up and it's causing you to kind of cough or have a tickle constantly. Stuff like this is really helpful. And we'll go into a more of a medical thing like cuts and bruises.
Right,
and
that's going to be a separate video on what you need for first aid preparation. Keep in mind, this is what we use, so you want to take a look at, your, for lack of a better saying, like your lifestyle. What do you need? Are you a type of person that gets colds more often or not? What are you going to need? What do you normally buy? What do you run out and buy? So you want to keep that in mind. Check our other videos out because we've done a whole series now on being prepared if something were to happen. If you like what you're seeing, hey, do us a favor and smash that like button for us. We really appreciate it. If you really like what you see, subscribe and check out all of our other videos as well.
And as you can tell, I'm in a coat. We're outside in our beautiful screened room. We try to use this room as much as possible, but it's getting cold now, so we'll be filming indoors pretty soon.
More indoors because it's getting colder, and now we're at that almost dangerous time of year where you could get a snowstorm or you could get an ice storm because we're hovering in those 30s to low 30s to mid 30s, and that's when you can get an ice storm, and that's when power could go down. And something could happen. So definitely, thanks for watching, everybody.
Thank you, everybody. We'll see you soon.
Like and subscribe.
Oh, and happy Thanksgiving because we're getting close.